right, everybody, welcome to the first episode of the No Signal podcast. Today with me, we got Hooty, the owner of Neon Dreams.
One of them.
One of them?
Yeah.
All right. How we doing today?
Living the dream, brother.
Yeah.
I had a little adventure on the way here. I've got an absolute shitbox that died on me on the bridge, so that was a little spooky, but I managed to neutral into Circle K. So, aside from that, pretty good, man. That's the kind of shit that makes you feel like you live.
All right. What game are we bringing to the people today?
We were playing Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, my own personal copy that I very much enjoy.
All right.
Always forget that with these Japanese games, circle's the button you gotta hit, not X.
No X, only circle.
I love how you can mess around with the opening here.
After the end of World War II.
So, no signal. This is your first time doing it, right?
Yep, first time. This is first time doing a podcast in general, but felt pretty inspired by some of the stories people had to share around the arcade, so started this as a way to kind of like record those and keep those for the future, you know?
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, shit, just, Boone and Jet to name two. Not to mention the other ones. For example, we've got Steve, the initial D-Racer, Face, who used to be a kid when he used to play in Tampa Lanes.
Yep.
We get a lot of Tampa Lanes customers. It's a shame that Tampa Lanes ended up closing down with all those cabinets. But
Yep. And maybe Tampa Lanes may be closed, but I don't want to lose those memories, I want to preserve them.
I picked Metal Gear Solid 3, but it's really just an hour of cutscenes, I forget.
Yeah, so this is very good for us to talk over and not have to brain engage.
For sure. I'm going to pop off my hat real quick.
All right.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
All right, so what I'm going to start asking people is, what is like your attachment to this game? Why did you choose this game for today?
Metal Gear Solid 3 for me, I came across accidentally as a kid. I remember being in Chile, 2000 whatever, and my cousin loved Metal Gear Solid. I didn't know anything about it, and he was in Grozny Grad. And I just remember he left the controller because he was so pissed he couldn't figure out how to get out of the cell. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna play with it. And somehow I managed to feed Snake like poison or rotten fucking rat or something, whatever they were feeding you, and then he pukes, and then the guard comes in, and then for some reason, like my little sociopath brain as a child went, I'm gonna stab that guy with a fork. And then that's when I fell in love with Metal Gear Solid because it made no sense. I also accidentally walked into that nightmare dream, the one where it's like almost like
Sorrow?
Rising. Yeah. Well, no, not the Sorrow one, but it's the one where like he's butchering people.
Oh yeah.
I did that one totally by accident. I don't remember I don't know how to do it. Did it? But anyways, no, this game was fun. It shaped a lot of the ways that I see the world today. I've learned to really appreciate Kojima as a writer, director,
absolute
game creator,
storyteller, game designer.
and it's always unique. It doesn't ever feel reused. Even Metal Gear Solid 2, with all its controversies, felt fresh. It catches you off guard.
Yep. What's old is new again.
Yeah, it's really fun. And then a lot of the stuff in the games can even be appreciated today, or you can look and say, holy shit, Kojima was calling this in 2002 or whatever. And it's not so much that he called it, it's just, it shows the times, and it still shows today.
If he very much had a finger on the pulse of the world at large.
I forget that it vibrates on this part.
Try not to get frostbite from the windshield.
Up to a nice 30 frames.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
All of the subtle details of the clothes flapping with the
Oh yeah, dude.
with the wind, trying to show the strength of the PS2 console.
And I was
what he had to work with.
I was such a 007 kid too, so when I saw this,
I was very much reminiscent of the GoldenEye game jump.
oh yeah, man. I mean, the 2000s was just such a creative time for video games. Just growing up in that time, every game felt different. It never felt like now, and it's not a bad thing, but a lot of games feel
very similar or draw a lot from each other.
Yeah, it doesn't feel original. It's very rare that we get an original game, and the only people making original games now, it seems like, it feels like, is indie developers. And thankfully, a lot of them are doing great, like Baldur's Gate, or the other team that made Baldur's Gate and so on.
Yep.
Directed by Hideo Kojima, man.
Jack, I've got some
What
important...
questions you got for me, big guy?
All right, so let's start We know you run an arcade here from time to time, but what do you play in your spare time when you're not focused on?
Man. I go through fucking phases. Sometimes it's League, just straight League and brain rot. Other times it's Valorant brain rot. Right now it's Valorant and CS:GO brain rot. I don't even play fucking first-person shooters anymore. I get my cheeks clapped pretty quick. Shit. I play a bunch of games at home now, and when I say a bunch, it's whatever's mainstream. For example, whatever my friends want to play, I play. I'm not good at it, but I'll play. The only like guilty pleasure game that I play now is gonna be some boomer games like War Thunder or RTSs, which I'm not good at if anybody ever wants to play, but I'm fucking horrible at it. I play like a boomer. That's typically what I'm playing in my own time. If not that, then I'm playing classics on the PS2. I've been trying to get into Kingdom Hearts lately. Might be a little controversial, but
what are some games you recommend from like the PS2, GameCube, Xbox
With
era?
the GameCube right off rip, you can recommend Pikmin, Pikmin 2, they're both solid games. I was personally a big fan of the 007 games. Nightfire on the GameCube or PlayStation 2 solid. PlayStation 2, any Metal Gear Solid game.
Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
I primarily actually grew up a GameCube kid. Lego Star Wars, but that came out on every console.
Take it easy.
I'm trying to think about some. Star Fox Adventures. That's a hard one. I've never finished that one. But I remember as a kid, it kicked my ass. It was rough, man.
I remember playing that game on the GameStop.
On
like
the fucking
demo.
little demo, yeah. Oh, I'd love to have
at
one of
the
those
counter playing this game, and I'm just like,
do you remember how much they used to snap your neck? You used to have to look up
straight up,
just in the most uncomfortable position, and your body was okay with it as a kid. You're just like, yeah, this is fucking peak performance, dude.
I remember picking up the controller, and I'm like, I know what Star Fox is. I never had Star Fox for the N64 growing up, but like I knew what Star Fox was, and then me seeing like Fox on the ground in that game was like, whoa, what is this? This isn't Star Fox.
I remember Adventure actually upset a lot of Star Fox players because Star Fox was like a shooter. Or not a shooter, but a space shooter, I guess. I don't know the term, but when people played it, like, wait, we're space shooter. And it's this essentially a JRPG with very little guidance, in my opinion.
Yeah. A lot of games were like that though back in the day, where they kind of just like gave you the reins. They would tell you in dialogue where to go, but you didn't have a lot of the modern accoutrements that you have now of like, here's your compass marker showing you exactly where to go.
Your handheld. Or sometimes it depends. Sometimes they smothered you. Other times it felt like a From Software game,
you know? Where it's just like, here's a vague direction of where to go.
The PS2 was really not bad about that, but I would say there were more games on the PS2 that came out that way with no fucking direction. As opposed to the GameCube. I feel like games in the GameCube are very much more fleshed out for a family home. As opposed to the PS2, it's like, hey, we're just going to port this Japanese game, do a horrible dub, or a very minimal sub and let you figure it out.
Yep. Absolutely. Here.
Was it Jack or David?
This is Jack.
Well, not including Ryden. I guess technically they are both Jacks.
I mean, yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember loading this up, and I like Metal Gear. And I remember when I loaded into the screen. Did I load up the wrong game?
This isn't Snake.
Mom, we got a knockoff copy? Oh, and then I forgot a subsistence. Actually look around as opposed to just...
If you don't have the fixed cameras.
Revival pill used to fuck me up.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out...
I love the dialogue in this game, and I know you got to talk, too.
So I wasn't here for the grand opening of Neon, but how was that for the arcade dream to finally like come to light and you seeing the business open?
In all honesty, it was a little spooky that day because just the day prior, or actually that same day, Cody and I had just finished, finishing touches from the soft open at like 3 a.m. that day. And I remember that night we were down to $28 in the account, and I remember telling Cody, "Hey man, do you need gas?" And he's like, "I do actually." I was like, "All right, we got $28. You're gonna have to use 20." So we $20 from the business account. Essentially, we had ran the business account to zero. So we kind of we were crossing our fingers, like, please make it open, because rent was due in 2 days. or 3 days, and we pulled through. We're really surprised by the amount of supporters that we got, and looking for a place like Neon Dream, a place where people can like come together, hang out. They don't have to play games, or they can play games. Get competitive. They can get as competitive as they want, as little as they want.
There's not a lot of those like truly just social spaces left that aren't just like bars or clubs or.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not a big fan of drinking.
Weapons and equipment are procured on site.
Oh, excuse me.
That goes for food.
I'm not a big fan of drinking, for example. So going to bars for me was In the army, I mean, yeah, you have your barracks parties and stuff. That'd be the only time I drank, but oh man, drinking's not really my thing. So
yeah.
when
I very much had the opposite experience of after my first couple of trips to Neon, because it was like I was a like alcoholic in recovery.
Oh yeah, okay.
And the after the first trip to Neon, I was like, well, it costs $15 to go here. Case of beer costs about the same much, so I'm gonna have to start choosing which one I want, which one I want to do more.
Some dude math.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm happy to hear that Neon Dreams has been able to provide you with an experience, or rather a community that
no problem.
I guess gives you an escape from that.
It's stuck on a branch.
That's really nice to hear, man. Actually, really, I appreciate that. That was a big reason I wanted to get in the arcade with Cody. Was building community, because I feel like during COVID a lot of that got lost.
Yeah, and like people just forgot how to socialize or like act in public. It was very much like even the movie experience. A lot of people would go into theaters and just be like, "Oh, like I'm just watching a movie. Like I'm sitting on my couch and not like."
It was it's different. But I'm happy to see that this is a place where people can. I don't know if experience the recovery is the right term, but feel a more normal feeling. Feel something that feels like the past, familiar, yet also being fun. Just a cool fucking place to hang out, dude. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. I remember the that Halloween event of me showing up, and I was like, oh, like this is like unreal. Like it was later in the night too. There was only a couple people here. Like the arcade wasn't super busy back then, so it was like the first time I met Brandon, the first time I met you.
Oh, yeah, things have come. You know, it's crazy. We're only in April now, but it feels like it's been longer in a good way. You know, from seeing the counters go from nothing.
Yeah.
To just one PS2 with an HDMI cable conversion that was like 5 seconds
yeah.
late. Bro, that was rough, man. I remember you were trying to fight the Harrier in Metal Gear Solid 2 with that.
It was not happening. It was pretty rough. MGS2 did feel better than MGS3 on that, so.
Which was crazy.
MGS3 was borderline unplayable with the input delay.
Yeah, I remember, man. That as far as you got in that game, that was impressive. Because I remember you were like left 1 second, and then you look left. Holy shit.
Yeah, doing anything besides stealth takedowns is not viable. No shooting.
Right. We've it's been cool. It's cool to see how much the arcade has kind of grown. Oh fuck, I even forgot about Pump. Pump's huge. Yeah, we got Pump It Up.
Just a whole nother wave of players that you didn't have before here.
Very passionate community. Definitely a community I appreciate and always wants to invite people to play more games. It's never like this is our thing. It's hey man, you want to come try this? It's like this is really cool and fun.
And it's nice to see that someone who is like at that skill level, like compared to like first-person shooters or even like I wouldn't say fighting games because the fighting game community is very open to like please bring new players in and we will teach them. But just like other competitive game communities that are very much like no, this is our thing. Like I'm not gonna take the time to either invite you or teach you how to play this thing. It's gonna be like we want more players involved.
Which I don't know if sad is the right, but early on when we were starting the arcade, we noticed that the rhythm game community wasn't really cared about. It was just kind of like, yeah, suck it up. You get bad cabs, you get, you know.
Cabs aren't taken care of. They've either had drinks spilled on them through like 10 years of service or
they weren't really seen as like a valuable customer. I mean, if you look at Dave & Buster's, for example, and it makes sense if you, make it my foot. Look at like Dave & Buster's. Their model, they want you to go around and play. They want you to oh, there we go.
Pack it up nice in a little package there for you.
Yeah. When you have somebody playing Pump It Up for hours on end, like the Pump crowd very much likes to do, it doesn't make sense because you have all these other machines that are in a revenue.
Yeah, like so, as a like non-community member as a business owner,
Yeah.
you seeing that, being like, oh, well, why isn't this person experiencing all these other cabs that we have? Why do they just want to do this one
I
thing?
get the sentiment, but it's also it sucks, man, because people just want to go out and have a good time. They don't want to play every game. You've seen customers in here sometimes that just come in for some games specifically.
Oh yeah, like a lot of our Waka community is like only here to play Waka, or the Pump players are only here to play Pump.
Yeah, or just here to play Pump and hang out with their friends. It's really interesting. It's not hard to go the extra mile for our customers. We're really lucky to have the people that.
Absolutely.
The fact I can just rattle off names, whether it's Corey, Gabe, Caitlin, Brian, right off the rip, just know these regulars that come in and always show up, and they always it tribute something, not so much, but it's
they provide to the experience here. Like it wouldn't be the same without them.
Yeah, without each one of them, it doesn't feel. In fact, it's weird because if you know somebody comes on a day and they're not there,
it's like
feels a little different. Like I miss them, you know.
Oh, one.
Oh, just one. Do you want to get the Gar hat?
The Gar hat is on a rock later. Yeah, it's like way later.
Oh yeah, I forgot to play on extreme. Why is my health bar so low?
All right, so what are some of the favorite moments that you've had here so far?
Oh boy. And
whether it be like a tournament experience or like just an interaction with a customer.
There was one, I believe it was ABY, Kid Frost, and ABY for sure. And I just remember ABY won. He was so fucking hyped, dude. He was so competitive. Seeing somebody be that competitive but not be a dickhead about it,
I remember that.
Loved it.
And then like after that experience, they just sat and talked it out for like the next hour.
They labbed it, man. It wasn't like, oh, that's bullshit, you're using a cheap move. It was really wholesome and nice. It felt like people actually wanted to be next to each other. It wasn't just fucking driven by greed or any kind of ego. It was just fun. And I've had a lot of favorites with customers, but Gabe, I've had a lot of favorite moments with Gabe. Gabe cracks me up, man. Such a ball of sunshine. Equally the same with Ari, same with Caitlin, Corey. I remember Ari one time, with her signature girl dinner, she came in and she was getting, what is it? Peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, the peanut M&Ms, Snickers,
and a Dr. Pepper, I think. Or no, Sprite. I think it's a Sprite. The signature fucking Ari combo. And I just remember going like, it's on the house, dude. Please get some food, you know? And then, oh man, there's just such a charm to everyone. And there was a recent one that actually killed me. I've had some personal moments here at the arcade that not many people know. For example, the blowout once. I had in my pants when we were. It was during a busy hour. You had just gone to the bathroom, and I was stocking the fridge. I just picked up all these drinks, and I popped a squat as I normally do, and I felt the breeze. And then with a crowded arcade, I had to waddle over behind the counter while people were trying to talk to me, and just calmly, like, handle my business. There's a couple other gems too. I remember one time Cody dropped his monitor. I thought about clipping it, but I didn't want to because I know it just happened. And then by the time I thought to do it, the footage had already been lost. But yeah, Cody dropping his monitor and just staring at it like, well, it didn't get mad or anything. You just stared at it. It's nothing you can do. You know what happened, you know? There's too many.
Speaking of CCTV moments, I love the Envy picture that is now an emote in the Discord.
Oh yeah, dude.
Just stanced up Envy.
Oh yeah, it was my day off, and I looked at the cameras. I was just taking a peek. It was like 9 or 10 p.m. It was late, not many customers, and I just saw Envy, and I was like, let me screenshot this and send it to him. Can we use this as a meme? And he's like, yeah, dude, for sure. Envy's also fucking cracks me up a lot. What did he do? I don't have the best memory. No, I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, shit, you've seen it before. I put my phone down 2 seconds. Like, hey, you see my phone? Fuck, man. Grandpa's trying to remember how to get out of here. Do I have to get? Yeah, I do.
So what was the spark that made you realize that this is what you want to do now? That like maybe spawned Neon Dreams? I know I've heard the Thanksgiving table story, but like, was there another
you
moment
just died,
besides?
wow.
Yeah, it's out of stamina.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay. So Thanksgiving dinner, Cody was visiting with Jenny, and then Logan and I were living in South Tampa, some apartment, and I've been wanting to start something for a while, something that felt fulfilling. I wasn't really in for the money. I was looking for more fulfillment, something to I'm really happy with the are and have been whole quest. Because I remember when I approached Cody, he's like, "Oh, cool. That's a cool story, bro. Very cool." Anyways, next thing. Then I bring it up. He's like, "Oh, dude, that was funnier the second time." Like, no, I'm serious, bro. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I kind of start sending him shit, and then I think Cody goes like,
Like this
he's like,
is-
"Oh, you're serious?" I was
Yeah,
like,
this is a real thing.
yeah, dude, I'm fucking serious. What do you mean? It's you know, I don't know how many people just go they're gonna start an arcade, but
Snake, your presence in Soviet
I don't know. If I say I'm gonna
territory
do
is
something a
already
little bonkers,
violation
I
of
like to think I'm gonna
international
go.
law. You can't let the Kremlin find out that the
Essentially, from
CIA
there,
and
you
the
know, Cody and I
American
just started
government are involved.
bouncing things off. I remember
Contact
for
with
like
the
an
enemy
hour or two,
is strictly
Cody
prohibited.
and I just
Don't
sat there
engage on
labbing the
battle
name.
either.
We were like,
This
"Fuck
is
the
a
name,"
stealth mission.
and
that?
we came across
The
Neon
Major
Dreams
is
because
right.
it was.
The point of this mission is to sneak through the
I don't remember if
jungle
it was the
without
only
being
thing that
seen.
stuck with our image.
The
That
success of the mission depends
right?
on how
But it just
well
sounded
you use
good.
your camouflage.
rolled off the tongue easy. Didn't feel forced.
Change your camouflage
felt
by
right.
selecting camouflage
like,
from the survival viewer.
When you
The
come here
uniform
for the
option
first
lets
time,
pick
you
your
definitely like
uniform,
get
while
the
face
name.
option
Like
I
you
hope
step,
so,
change
man.
your
you
face
step
paint.
in and it feels like you're
Choosing
listening to
camouflage
like
that
future
blends in with
funk
your
or like
surroundings will help you
Yeah,
conceal
yeah.
yourself more effectively.
It's for a little while when we had the.
Also,
I mean,
don't
shit. Even
forget
now,
that
sometimes it
anything
feels
that
like imposter
moves will
syndrome.
stand
Like
out in the jungle.
I
If you
worry
just stand
sometimes
up
like,
and
oh,
run around
we're
like
not
an
a real
idiot,
arcade. We don't
you're
have
bound to
enough,
be spotted.
and it
But
feels.
if you crawl instead, you should be
I don't know
able
how to
to
explain
sneak
it.
by without
We're doing
being
it right,
noticed.
right? Like when you say it feels like a neon dream. Sometimes I can't help but doubt myself. Like, what can I do to
You
make
can
this
see
more
how effective
neon
your
dreams?
camouflage is by looking at the camo index. The camo
I
index shows
definitely
how well your
like
current
the growth
camouflage
that has
blends in
happened
with
so
the
far.
surrounding area.
It is, and like
The
the
higher
relationship you
value,
have with
the
your
harder
guests and
you
your
are to
customers
spot,
isn't like
and
the
vice
typical like business owner
The key is to make
customer
yourself
experience.
one
It's
with
very much
nature.
like a community that is
Keep that
built
in
here
mind
to
as
bring
you're
a lot of
going
the stuff
on,
we have
okay?
together, like the fighting game community that we've fostered, like bringing a bunch of the vets back for some of the older
Oh,
game
yeah.
tournaments.
Oh man,
Just-
seeing like Soul Calibur 2 has really blossomed.
Mhm.
I didn't expect it to be that popular because it started with you and me just because when we opened the arcade, it was slower, much
Mhm.
slower. Like if we got 10 people in a day, we were like, "Oh, that's a great fucking day, bro." And then more people just started coming. But yeah, anyways, it started with just labbing Soul Calibur. It was Voldo Nightmare every fucking
Yeah,
time.
every day it was like, all right, nobody's in the store. Let's walk over to the Soul Calibur 2 cabinet and play
just hours.
Voldo Nightmare.
And then I don't know how, but I think we went, yeah, fuck it, let's just start a tournament. I don't remember if Boone asked about it or Jet.
I remember my second time at Neon. I forget what tournament it was.
Oh, bro, I forgot
That's
they
gonna be
fucking
a little-
sidestep.
It's gonna be a little rough.
Okay, you should be sleeping now.
There you go.
Good night.
All right. Yeah, I remember one of the first few times I was here. I'm trying to. It was for some tournament. It might have been Smash. It might have been Street Fighter 6, like me just playing on a whim. But I remember meeting Jet for the first time and just like playing Soul Calibur 2 with that man and him kind of like reliving the memories of, oh, like I miss this. Like I've missed this environment. I've missed this community. I've missed like being a kid again, you know? And then seeing, that was the same night I met Boone, and then seeing Boone walk in and it being like, oh, like I know him.
Oh, hold on. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Continue.
right. Because of Jet just being like, oh, like I know that person. Like I played
that was
tournaments with
crazy.
this person like 20 years ago.
You know, it's funny. The people who used to frequent Tampa Lanes will come in here and look around and go, "This feels like Tampa Lanes." Sometimes that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. And it's crazy because a lot of times when someone says that, I can go, "Oh, that's crazy. You're from Tampa Lanes." Well, I've got someone here that used to go to Tampa Lanes too.
And just like
and they'll be like,
everyone from that community knows each other.
"Oh, nice, man."
Like Chase and War being like another prime example of it, of them playing Initial D back in the day at Tampa Lanes, and it being like war remembering Chase as just this little kid who could like barely keep up to him now, to like Chase setting like world record leaderboard times.
Yeah.
Like just that growth is insane.
It's funny too because sometimes they'll talk about him like, oh man, I remember when he was just a kid, like when now he's over here just doing his own thing. He drifts for real life too, which is crazy because a lot of people shrug off video games like, oh yeah, there's no point in doing that. You'll never do any of that stuff. And that's true to a certain extent, maybe. Really limit yourself on other people's. But you know, Chase managed to make his love of driving a real thing, and he still comes in and enjoys video games. He doesn't put himself above it like, oh, I shouldn't enjoy video games now that I'm actually doing it. No,
or like putting one over the other. It's just like, this is a hobby that I have, and this is another hobby I have, and they like coincide with each other.
Trying to really remember how to play this game. Oh shit. Oh, I think I'm done with this one. Fuck.
Well, we are close to wrapping up the first episode here, so I got one more question for you. What are some gaming memories of a child that you kind of feel are like relived here? Like specifically maybe arcade memories that you had as a kid growing up, or like playing on cabs back in the day? Because I didn't have a lot of arcade memories growing up. We kind of had like really bad bowling alley arcades.
For me, I was always a masher when I was a kid. I'm still a masher. It still shows, and I try to hide it. But with arcade games, I didn't see them too much in America. Anytime I did, it was like moths to a. I would just kind of hover towards it, and in the hopes that somebody maybe put an extra dollar or an extra quarter in there, and I could somehow squeeze the extra 2 quarters out of my my parents.
I remember digging around at Chuck E. Cheese
or
for spare
you
tokens
find the
on the
occasion.
reject.
God, yeah, I used to love Chuck E. Cheese too. I remember there was even a Chuck E. Cheese I could go to as a kid. They had 18-wheeler. It was one of my favorites.
I have played the 18-wheeler Chuck E. Cheese
and even had
cab.
like the little horn right there. I used to, man, I used to fucking piss off.
The big clunky
for sure, the employees at Chuck E. Cheese,
there.
the 18, 19-year-old fresh out of high school hated me. They hated me, bro. But I actually didn't get to go to arcades that often. The only time I did was in Latin America, because in America, a lot of times arcades are just so
the early 2000s and like 90s arcade cabinet was very much like, how fast can we drain your wallet while you stand here?
And it was really, for lack of better words, lame, because I never got to finish anything against. Bro, I still haven't beat Time Crisis 3. I want to buy a fucking Time Crisis 3 CAD to get it here, because that shit would just gut me at the movie theater. It was $1 a play. Fucking Wolf Dog? No, Wild Fang. Wild Fang kicked my ass. Anyways, in Chile, though, when I would visit my family, there were actual arcades, and when you went to buy tokens, it was like the equivalent of $1 there for 20 tokens. And the tokens, they were like these shitty little like stamped sheet metal, like cookie cutter, almost like not crinkle cut chips.
Either made out of like tin or
it was
like
something like they would obviously be fine without, but
like zinc.
You were supposed to play. It was like a token of play. You were supposed to hang out there all day. They would sell gum. It felt almost like, I guess, now that I think about it, like a Japanese arcade. It'd have gum, snacks, beer, sodas. They would have everything there for you to stay there and not go out and get food. If you wanted to bring food, much like us, they would let you bring it in too. At the same time, there were also like internet, or not internet, but looking for
internet cafes.
They were internet cafes too at the same time, because in Latin America, internet wasn't as
widespread.
Yeah, in personal household or households. So if you wanted to use the internet, sometimes you'd have to go to an internet cafe. And let me just say, there were a lot of pirated games there, but they were great.
Absolutely, yeah. CS 1.6 just running on
it really
absolute
felt
dog water hardware.
It felt like anytime you went to an arcade, at least in my experience as a kid, it always felt like I was going over to just a dude's place who just happened to like these things and want to make it accessible for everyone else. And I kind of always wanted to do something like that. For me, distinctly, I remember playing at one, and actually it wasn't a bad mall. At DDR, they had Pump It Up, actually, now that I remember about it. 2003, 2004. Very, very old version of Pump It Up. I remember looking at it going, that's like a knockoff DDR, I think. Which, I'm sorry, Pump fans, I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying that's what I thought as a kid.
Quite fair if you've only seen the standard DDR 4-button cross.
To be honest, I think I was playing Alpha 3 or Alpha 2. I remember seeing the design of the character. No, it was Third Strike. Sincerely, it was Third Strike. I remember going up to the little tiny cabinet. It was like an Empress, I believe, was name of the candy cab. I'd never seen a candy cab before.
Mhm.
I just remember looking at it and seeing the quality of the animations, seeing each
All
frame
the
just going like,
rotoscoped animations, just
yeah, and just going like, this is
crystal
fucking
clear.
peak performance, dude. This is
Mhm.
awesome. Why the fuck? Why isn't everybody here? Is like what I thought. And as a kid, it
Yeah.
get kind of self-centered. But I just remember going like, look, guys, look
Yeah,
at this.
what is this gem I am staring
And
at?
like it was like I had just found the first flame or something, but everyone was already fucking over it. Everyone was playing it. But for me, I remember going like, this is so cool. Why don't we have this in America? Why aren't people? Dudes would just sit there. They would just sit at the
Mhm.
candy cab and play and win, win, win. People would just rotate through, and it was never like, and you could smoke there too. So it'd be fucking smoking like a pack of
chain smoking cigarettes on
and
the
uncontrolled
third
nicotine
strike.
too, like super high levels of nicotine, and like little ashtray by the coin counter, just smoking, playing. He would win. He wouldn't even flinch. It'd just be like,
All right, next one.
Hey, he's still in the same cigarette,
Yeah.
and then just cycle through. But it was fun though. It wasn't ever toxic. It wasn't like you suck. And like I remember watching the guy. He'd win and he'd smile a couple times if he lost. Be like, oh okay. Yeah. Like I didn't. There was a lot of humility and confidence in that, you know. And then when you did see him like with a giant fucking ashtray just walk away,
Mhm.
it's like, oh shit, that guy's good.
Yeah.
And then it was that I remember distinctly. I remember arcades in Chile. Just wishing like, dude, why aren't people doing this? Or like, why? Like, people
Mhm.
can come together. I don't just have to play with my neighbor because
Yeah.
that's all I did as a kid. Because in
Mhm.
America, I grew up in bumfuck Middleburg.
Yep, I know that growing up, kind of suburban / like
And like now,
Toledo zoning's weird, but
where I grew up is like a lot nicer now. Don't get me wrong; it's very suburban now. But I essentially only had my neighbor to play with. I didn't even get to play games online until like 2013, on which the internet had already been out for a while at that point.
yeah, I very much remember sitting around the PS2 playing Soul Calibur 2, just with all the kids from the neighborhood, like gathered around the big old
That's the shitty
CRT
thing
monitor.
too. I didn't have a lot of kids in my neighborhood. I was in a boomer neighborhood, dude. So I had like one kid I could play with, and like, sometimes there were some games he was good at, and other games he wouldn't want to play because he wasn't good at. And I was like, oh, come on, bro.
I remember that experience of just like the numbers of the kids around the PS2
Yeah,
slowly dwindling down as like you kind of weed out the skill level of who's actually decent at the game and who's just kind of hitting buttons. I remember it would always get down to me and Cody playing Soul Calibur 2.
Oh yeah.
That was the matchup back then was Raphael Youngsung.
Oh,
and,
were you Youngsung?
Yes, I was Youngsung.
Oh, that's
back
a
then.
rough matchup.
So
dude.
I was having a real bad time. So,
That's rough. That's really fucking rough. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
That kid
I made a post about that of I'm just so he knows, Cody, that I am still getting bullied by a absolutely cracked Raph in Soul Calibur 2.
You could just say Sean.
Yeah.
You could just say Sean. Fuck, man. Sounds good. It's really sad, man, that more arcades didn't really take off in America the way that they did in other places, because the communities around them are really wonderful. I never even thought about it till now, actually, but it was honestly the FGC that got me interested. I remember seeing them hang out and play, and I remember that was so fucking cool. It was humble. It wasn't like the playing field was really level, and they let you be as good as you could be. They would lab. Like, there was no like fucking internet where you could pick up what's the meta.
Yeah,
there
it
were
was
like metas
you
for the area.
Yeah, you just had to like sit down and figure that shit out.
Yeah. And I'm really happy with the way the arcade, especially with our community. Communities are the most special part about an arcade.
We have definitely fostered a very healthy and encouraging community here. Like, everyone is pretty much has each other's backs.
It's always really nice. If I have a rough day, and I see just Gabe and Seth hanging out, or Ari and Caitlin, or fucking Mike shredding it on the pump pads, or even if I come over here and just catch Cody just running a couple sets, it always makes me a little happy to know. Very nice. It's a place where people can relax. Lack of judgment. Really proud of that.
Right, I do think that's going to wrap up the first episode of No Signal here. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promote here in our last couple seconds?
Nothing I really want to promote as much as I want to say thank you for all the work you've done on our art. Helped us out a lot. Cody and I haven't really, we didn't really consider getting outside help from anybody in the beginning. Not because we didn't want to, it just didn't think anybody would really share the passion. It's not that we didn't think anybody would. It would be share the passion in game investment. You have been such a great help and such a good friend here. Really appreciate you, man.
And I appreciate you too. You really, back then helped me through a pretty rough spot in my life of trying to move past what I was and try to be better.
I'm happy for that. Thank
I
you.
appreciate my time here. I thank you for coming here earlier than expected and
Yeah.
recording this with me.
Yeah, for sure, man. I enjoy it. Anytime, and gonna do a take two. We'll do a take two.
All right.
So.